Hey folks, we're going to do some artwork this morning. Give me a second here to check my signal, make sure we're up and running. I'm going to do some quick social media posts in the background, and then we'll get to work. So let's start off and see if my signal is up and running here, if I'm talking to the wind or if there's someone there. See if my signal's up and running. Oh, yeah, we're there. Kind of got the huskiness to my voice going this morning, and I'm well rested, so I can't use that as an excuse. But I'm well rested, so I think I think it's that chicken, that fish I got caught in my throat last night. I think it horsed me up a little bit. So, sultry Phil engaged. What's up? Let's see. So I'm grabbing this, and let me just amuse you with my backstory here real quick, since the social medias seem to be coming along nicely. My name is Phil Kearney. What's up? I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 2024. We're publishing on the DMsGuild. It's an adventure in the Eberron setting. We're the Crystals of a Bar. You can see the book cover here. We're fighting necromancers, undead, and demon in the Carnwood of Carnath on the continent of Corvair. I've been a DM since 1987, a freelance illustrator since 1999, an Eberron enthusiast since 2004, and a creator of 5e content on the DMsGuild since 2018. But I have not yet created anything for Eberron specifically, or in a unique adventure unto my own. So we're doing that with Crystals of a Bar. I'm done with my intro, so we can now do some artwork. So just to wrap this up, if you think today's cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. We are currently on episode 462. And here's the entire playlist of all episodes of us creating all the maps, all the tokens, all the art assets, all the page layouts, getting things done. Here's a bunch of books I've already created using the same process. You can check out. They all have free previews, extensive free previews. Most of these books you can read cover to cover. If you think they're cool, consider picking them up to encourage similar behavior in the future. You could also support me on Patreon. Discord community is open for anyone to jump in and playtest stuff if you're interested. And with that, I guess we'll get to work. Grabbing my Wacom stylus, dropping the book cover out of the way here, and let's get into it. So again, we're using the 16:9 format on the page here. So on your computer screen, if you go full screen, it should now be filled with a 12-point font body text. There you go. So the illustration that we're working on down here in the corner isn't very significant, but it's what we're working on, so it's important to me. This doesn't need to be most of the book is going. This is obviously still a very rough illustration here, but most of the book is going to be covered with NPC and monster tokens that we've previously created, or maps that we've previously created. Little corner pieces like this where we're basically doing spot art to fill in space. Super down with it. So let's see. I guess let's just keep going. Yeah. This dude. So getting to a point where you're looking pretty good here, buddy. You're looking pretty good. Let's duplicate this layer. Spear. There we go. You know, honestly, I think with that, we can probably. I want to keep. I'll keep. Keep this around just for safekeeping. original piece. This is the current piece. Yeah, okay. Let's grab this up again. That feels pretty good. Let's go up here. Spear. I'm gonna put a separate layer in here just to keep it, because it's a foreground piece that's going across the body, and we still have work to do on the body. I want to keep it as a separate layer so it doesn't interrupt what we're doing there. Just gonna. It's a pretty jank spear, but I'm just gonna fill it in for the time being as it is. Copy paste. That feels pretty good. Let's grab this and copy paste. Line art. Let's get it lined up as well. Very nice. Good spear. Definitely a little froggy still. Let's get that out of the way. Grab this, copy paste, bring it in line here. Grip is there. That's a decent stance. Let's have that sit. That's pretty good. Hey, Fox, how you doing? Yeah, this is the next page that we're working on. This is page 6 of the document. We're talking about plot hooks, different types of encounters that are. This is like the structure of like the first 6 pages. Like the first page is the cover, and then there's the intro section about like what's this adventure about, and then there's structure of the adventure, and then there's the actual starting the adventure, like getting into the adventure itself. So this is part of the first 5 pages that is basically lays out the format and how everything is structured inside the adventure. So there's the main plot hook, Deputize, which starts on page 7, and then we have these alternate plot hooks, which are in Appendix 3, for different ways for characters to get introduced to the adventure and into the mix, with different perspectives. And then we have the encounters, wandering encounters, which are unplanned encounters that can occur inside of a region. Prepared encounters, which are definitely prepared encounters inside of the region, typically denoted by like numbers on a map. And there's optional encounters, which are prepared but not necessary. So like you have your prepared encounters, like your dots on the map, and then while you're transitioning from dot to dot on the prepared encounters on the map, you can run into wandering encounters. And if it feels like there's something missing from what's been going on in the region that they're exploring, there's the number of optional encounters that add spice, danger, and more exploration or social interaction options to the characters to engage the content in a different way. And then there's discussion about short and long rests, where you can, where you can't. When is it safe? When isn't it safe? Where do you need to, like, is it even possible? Some regions you can't get sleep in at all, so you have to retreat to a prior point where you can. And so this is just a long rest in the Carnwood. So I'll add some foliage into the mix here along the bottom, but we have these two characters that are hanging out here on one side of the fire. This dude here that's twiddling with a stick. And then we got this guy that's keeping guard, and we are currently working on the guy that's keeping guard. So, there. Not quite. There, this is the one. So since the artifacts page is finished, this is the next thing on my chopping block to resolve. Do like that. Yeah. Last night worked on the remaining paladin subclasses that hadn't been filled out for 2024. And started in on the non-color based subclasses for wizard as well. So that was yesterday was a pretty productive day for me last night. I was really happy with it. What the deuce? Get out of here. Okay, so there's that. And where's this coming from? Hold on. Yeah, okay. Kind of like that. So yeah, I said we'd be on a new page today. So we are on a new page today. And with God's grace, we'll be done with this piece this week. And then we'll move on to the next piece. So yada yada blah de blah. Oh, I've got previous pages set up. Hold on real quick. This is page 6. So let's go back to the front. Here's the cover art that we did, and as an 8.5 by 11, that's how we shrink it down a little bit to fit into the 5.5 format here. The cover art on DMsGuild will be full size, but this is sufficient size. It fits. But first page here we have the cover, the credits, the table of contents, and then introduction. This needs a little bit of work still. We'll put in logo stuff here. Let's see, and then page 2. This is still a work in progress. Adventure background, basically talking about what's actually happening here in the adventure. Why are the necromancers here? What is here for the necromancers to deal with, and what's some of the fallout that goes along with that? And a map of where this location is at, still work in progress. Here's the 3 different factions that are in the adventure: the Emerald Claw, the necromancers that are causing trouble; the Red Wolf Company, which are mercenaries that are hired by the Emerald Claw to create a buffer between what they're doing in the Manifest Zone and the nearby local villagers; and then the local villagers that are nearby, which is the earliest starting point. And if you're using alternate plot hook number 5, some of these people can be your family or friends from past adventures that have settled down here, and then things start going sideways. Page 4. Running the adventure itself, ongoing campaign, single adventure, toolkit, like how you can utilize the information that's located in here, the different locations that are in the adventure. This is starting to skim close to this margin line here. So these dots, like TOC, running the game, deputized, part 1, region A, B, part 2, region A, B, C, D, part 3, and then appendix 1, 2, and 3. I'm thinking that these dots need to be dropped down so that they're level with the border. Just because this is the lowest margin point here on the document, and I set that margin point so it wouldn't interrupt what we're doing with the framework and the navigation buttons. But I think they're encroaching a little bit too much into the territory, into the space of the page. I'm thinking like maybe, I mean, I could drop them down until they're flush and have them go completely to the bottom there. That's what we did with the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. It reads cleaner that way. But this is like late stage. After we get all the page art done, this is the kind of decision, like I might end up wanting to get rid of the black line and just go with a fade from the page so that the margins blend in along the bottom edge more than having a hard break here. That's a decision I can make along the way. I'm not there yet. I don't have to be there yet though, so it's okay. But yeah, this will be a map that's basically describing part 1 and then part 2 into the mist, where you're going into the actual manifest zone. This is no longer accurate A, B, C, D. We restructured it, so it's part 2 is A, B, C, and then part 3 is A, B, and then appendix 1, 2, 3. So we need to switch this up. Into the mist, the flooded fort, the gatehouse, the forgotten cemetery, and then actually within the nexus itself. Technically, it's only one region. It's just one dungeon, so there's only one region. So it should be A, B, C, and then part 3, appendix 8, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's accurate. Let's get that out of the way. And then section 5, page 5 is how weather operates while you're in the outside environment, visibility conditions throughout the adventure, icons that we're including to make it easier to indicate what kind of lighting is going on in a particular region. Inside the manifest zone specifically, different types of material and hazards that you'll encounter. And then conditions and terrain in general is difficult terrain. It's just more indicators for like when I throw up a map. We can have these icons be quick reference points for different conditions and stuff that we have to deal with while we're here. And these are all still just roughs, but that's where we're at there. So we'll probably be working on this page after we finish the current illustration that we're working on. So go from page. Oh yeah, and then page 7. This is starting the adventure, being deputized. Here's the sheriff that deputizes you in the first place. This still needs some adjustment because they all have the same badge number, but these are badges that you get from Fort Bastion that gives you the authority in the adventure to go anywhere, ask anyone anything that you want, and then once you get into the manifest zone, that's when you start having static. But depending on if the team is trying to stay stealthily and out of view, they could approach the adventure differently than if they're just like kicking down the front door and waving badges around saying that they're authorities and this is a raid or whatever it is that's going on. The players have that option, but this is a tool that the players can use. Like if you're working like if you're interrogating Red Wolf mercenaries, right? They're just veteran mercenaries that got a gig from a necromancer that was an officer in the military prior to the end of the last war. The money was good. They took the deal. When they start finding out that the undead and monsters that are coming out of the manifest zone are being created by the necromancers, they start to have a turn of heart about, like, what are we doing here? And when your characters show up with badges saying, yeah, there's people missing, you're failing at your objective of keeping them out of the manifest zone. There's danger happening here. You can flip the entire mercenary company to either stay out of the way while you deal with the necromancers, or even actively help you. And if you're using the Bastion campaign system, you can have these mercenaries become your Bastion guards, and they can start doing patrols in the Carnwood to help establish your character's authority in the area. One of the awards that you can gain from this adventure is being promoted from just deputies to full sheriffs, and then given the Carnwood as a territory. So now you can start doing hex crawls, and it's an 8th or 9th level adventure, so you can deal with decent spirits and undead threats that come out of the Carnwood, plus like the Talenta Plain halflings. You're deputized in the first place because the sheriffs are so stretched in their resources since the end of the last war. They're now having to wage a campaign against the halflings that have raided all the way up into the heartland of Karnath, since most of the military power of Karnath had been occupied in dealing with the last war on the Western Front for 100 years, etc. So yeah, so there's too much chaos going on inside the nation. They needed more people to help. Just, random complaints of people missing isn't a really big priority when there's a whole herd of man-eating dinosaurs coming in with bloodthirsty halflings on their back. But yeah, that's all the things that we're doing. As off topic, last Saturday will be a national Natty 20. Last Saturday will be a national Nat 20 holiday. My God, you guys were burning so bright. That was just a crazy. I played Curse of Strahd last night, and our numbers are not last night. That Saturday, I was we're in a 6th level Curse of Strahd campaign. Me and 4 other people. We play every other week, and our dice were on fire that night too. Just I don't know if it was a national event or whatever happened, but yeah, the 6 hours of gaming that I played on Saturday, all the players were on fucking fire. It was a good day to be an RPG, I tell you that. I tell you that. I have spoken. Feel agree. Close that up. Yeah. See, if we push that dot down, like if we did a fade instead of a black line here, we could actually fade this terrain into the border. That might end up being what we do. I don't know. We could transition from black to white and then do like the stonework. We'll see how that goes. I don't technically have to worry about it right now. What I do need to worry about is just keeping the frames so that I can keep the pictures within the active area of the illustration, and then we can blend later. There's lots of examples of blending art into the border in the Spelljammer book that I have published down below. You can thumb through that book and keep an eye on the bottom rail when you do, or along the edges. I blend like the frame in the Spelljammer book is like a star field. So when an illustration hugs the border, I just blend the background of that piece into the border so it all becomes the same starscape. We'll figure out something similar to that. We always do the frame last. Or the navigation buttons anyway at the bottom. Actually, in that Spelljammer book, I actually had. No, that's right. We did all the illustrations, and then we put in the frame, and then we blended the illustrations into the frame after we figured out what the frame looked like. That's accurate. I'm not making shit up. That's actually a true statement. Good. Sometimes I worry about that. Am I making shit up again? No, I'm not making shit up. That's good. That's good. This and this and... Yeah, let's blend these things together. Bond. That makes sense. Hold on. There it is. Body armor, mid-tor. I'm figuring out. I'm trying to minimize the amount of layers that I have while still keeping the layers relevant and active. There's that. There's that. Can I do this? Yes, I can. Merge those into one layer. That makes sense. Sculpt that shit, Kearney. These together. So cape, top, gloves, armor, mid-torso. Let's cut this free here. Free here. Organizing stuff. And then cape. Okay, this is better organized now. Let's start at the middle. Dice Man on fucking fire on Saturday. That was great. Yeah, that's a really good point. Hold on. This should actually be, if this is the armpits, I should have them merged together, like something like that. Which means this needs to be, this probably actually needs to be a touch bigger anyway, just to remain in proportion with Yeah, that actually does look better. Good change. Oops. Let's bring that in a bit. That's too much. That angle's wrong now. Thicken that up there a little bit. It's the armor that's wrong. It's not the arm. It's the arm's position isn't wrong. It's the armor, so it's throwing the angle of the arm off. So I need to, when you find a flaw, you have to figure out what the actual flaw is so that you correct the right problem, instead of just creating more problems, which you can do. Where's that mess coming in from? Hold on. Okay, that's just a gap. Mind the gap. Let's trim that just a smidge. That line. I'm gonna keep that. That's mine. There. Curve is good. Curve is good. There. Gotta get the cape right. Looks good. Don't worry about that. Working on that. Good. Let's get back into this. Let's see. Right. Sure, got this all built correctly. No, I can't punch a hole through that. It's all one layer. I need to smudge, not erase right now. Thank you. up a little bit. Actually, let's black all that shit out. Start over again. Something futzy about the armor that I'm not liking. Adjust my seat. Let's hide the top of the cape for now. I think that's causing a false read on me. That's starting to feel a little better. If I can stop my erasing habit, I will serve myself much better. There we go. Okay, and let's just, yeah, let's fill in all this bit up into here. Get the pauldron right. Start with as small, as specific a space as I need to get the thing done correctly. There, that feels good. I need to get rid of all of this because that's causing false reads on me as well. My sculpted abs. Yep. Let's just obliterate all that shit and start over again. It wasn't any good to begin with, Kearney. It was just remnants from the initial sketch, so you knew you were gonna have to redo this. No hurt, no harm, just fix. And good. While I lament losing something that I had been working on and having to backtrack a little bit, it's pretty insignificant in comparison to the total of the whole. And it only improves the quality. So identifying a problem, halting and fixing the problem is going to help prevent additional problems from cropping up in the future as we continue moving forward. So identifying a problem is the best thing you can do, especially if it isn't done and published yet. Last thing I would want to do is have mistakes and then push an entire product out and realize there's mistakes and have to immediately start trying to correct it after it's already gone live into the wild. That is the worst. Another good reason to stay in the PDF environment. Sure, it's not as flashy and high dollar volume like a big Kickstarter with custom dice and a bunch of bullshit like that. It's staying with just a simple PDF is the easiest way to be able to turn it around and make adjustments, fixes, changes, updates, etc. as needed. There. That's starting to feel a lot more simple and a lot better produced. Here. Now I can start seeing proportion issues and balance without the cape fucking up all my background stuff. But to be fair, this is the space that the cape would occupy. So I'm going to frame the character with the cape. Go out here like that because this is accurate. There we go. That's looking good. Now we can make that finally that arm works now. Nice. All right. Identify a problem, solve the problem, move on to the next problem. When you run out of problems, you're done. Now this feels like it needs adjustment. Yeah, that's probably there. Free transform. Increase the size. Actually looks really good. I'm really happy with that. Bring that spear in a bit. Yeah, that feels really natural. I'm pleased with that. The cape curve over the pauldrons. Hey, what's up? Hey, Finn. Long time no see, indeed. You were around when I was doing Spelljammer stuff, right? Sorry for forgetting. I recognize the name. I don't recognize the era. But well met, sir. That's a very, very large clip. Probably trim that down a little bit in size. Something a little bit more manageable, eh? So it's a Tuesday. Tuesday is a lunch stream design. So like around 2 o'clock Seattle time, which will be 5 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to continue developing the Order of Scribes and the Tradition of War Magic in the 2014 Forsaken Wizard subclasses. We'll finish out that full set in preparation for the 2024 Color Magic conversion system, and Sorcerer's already completely done. So after we finish up, I suspect today will be Wizard, and then on Thursday night and Friday lunch stream as well, we'll continue with, we'll work backwards. We'll finish up Wizard today probably. Sorcerer's already done. Then we'll do Druid on Thursday and Friday, Cleric on Monday and Tuesday next week, and then Bard on Thursday and Friday next week. And that'll complete all 13, all subclasses and all editions for all the classes throughout the book, all updated for 2024 and using the color mana mechanics on top of it. So we'll have the entire 13 class spread. And at that point, we should be at a place where we can start actually rebuilding the 2014 color mana books into the 2024 formatting. And that'll become my Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday project. Those 4 days going through those books and then rebuilding them with the new language, the new tech, the new information. Hey, Steve. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thank you. I am forgetful. I haven't been around in a while. I was part of the playtest in the campaign. Holy shit. Wait a second. That was a long time ago. Get the resources. Explore a huge map to help large group of people. Oh, that's right. The Color Mana Hex Crawl for the Martial Power System. Fuck. Sorry, man. Everyone uses different names on Discord than on YouTube, so it's difficult for me to keep track of who is what. So thank you. God, yeah, that was fun. We're doing currently we're doing martial powers instead of in a hex crawl running around with the caravan of people. It's a dungeon crawl instead. So we're going each 500-foot space of dungeon map at the 5-foot scale is a zone, and every time the team is going from zone to zone through the dungeon, defeating monsters, triggering traps, finding treasure, extracting the wealth, going back to town, in the old Beckme style of you get experience points after you bring when you throw gold away in society. So the team just hit level 6, and yeah, that system's taking a long time to develop, but if developing an entire magic system for Dungeons and Dragons was easy, we'd have a lot more magic systems for D&D. I think there's a reason why most people leave that heavy lifting to larger companies with a lot of staff, because there's a lot of fucking work that goes into it. I'm really proud with where it's at right now. It is the current playtest team that we've got going in the Mega Dungeon has really been helping. We started at 3rd level, we're 6th now, so we've had a number of weeks to be able to look at different standout options that are looking to be broken and revised that we've been pretty successful at doing so far. So far, so good, so what, you know? I'm really glad it was fun. Got some big exams still, but after I'll have a bunch of time on my hands. Also sounds awesome. Well, congrats with the schoolwork, man. I'm glad it's panning out for you. I never took school very seriously. You know what they say? If you don't have a tradable skill, get into sales. Because you might not be good at anything, but you can at least get to a place where you can convince people to do stuff. And ain't that just what sales is? Let's darken that block in. Yeah, I originally went to college to leave home, and I didn't care how much debt I would have to rack up in school and not being at home. But not being at home was just absolutely where I needed to be. So college was the easiest path for me to get into a controlled environment where I could, learn how to grocery shop and shit on my own. I just needed a fenced-in, protected space where I was free to make mistakes, and because I basically lived on a ranch until I went to college, and like I never shopped for myself, never groceries. Like I can't drive, so it's not like I could just like go to town and pick up supplies. It was never me that was doing it. So I had a very limited palette of experiences and interacting, like doing anything meaningful. So when I graduated high school, I tried to get into the military because I figured I really don't have a plan. I need to figure out how shit works. But if you can't see color and you can't see far, they don't like giving you a gun. And since everyone has to have a gun in the military and has to be good at using it, I would not get accepted into any of the branches. So then I realized, well, the government's not going to help me rescue myself from myself, so I got to start figuring shit out. So that's when I decided to go to college instead of, because I was not ready to drop into the real world. I had no real world skills acquired yet, and I'm proud of myself for at least being able to acknowledge that. But I spent my 3 years in college accumulating life skills for myself, learning how to operate, learning how to work with people, learning how to do daily shit. And in the meantime, I took culinary classes, so I got decent at cooking. I decided I didn't like the chef industry. It's too full of titles, pomp and circumstance, and ego. Way too much ego for me to appreciate it. So everyone takes offense at shit, and I'm not the right type of person for the chef world. So I took the skills, the mundane skills that I acquired in being able to run a kitchen. I got to a point where I was at a nursing home, cooking breakfast for 300 people at a time, and I had also worked in an Italian restaurant doing all the dessert and sauce prep. So I had such a sweet job. I'd come in at 6 o'clock in the morning and start doing prep for all this stuff, and my day would be over at 2 o'clock. I'd kick out, and then I'd have a long afternoon of time to myself, and then my friends that were getting out of that were still in college would be back from college anywhere from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then we'd play D&D. It was a good fucking life, man. Good life. Yeah, that looks really good. And the pauldrons are looking pretty good. The breastplate is starting to shape up. There we go. I'm almost at the point where I need to start pushing out more maps for the mega dungeon. We're 6th level now. We're going to level 10, so we've done 3, 4, 5, level 3, 4, 5, and then we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 3 out of 8 levels so far, and I've got. I'm pretty confident I have enough dungeon to get everybody to level 7 and into level 8, but not through level 8 to 10. So I need to dedicate a little bit of downtime to building out more dungeon space. And I'm trying to. My biggest problem is I don't like setting projects down that I'm already working on. So I need to break away and prioritize more mapping for the dungeon. It needs it. It's going to have it much sooner than later, because the team is going to be able to. Higher level characters can push faster, so I need to have the content ready to go, and I can. Luckily, the CR is scaling up, so I can escalate the level of threat that the team is facing, which is how the genre works in general. That is accurate. But I'm excited. The team is a couple 100 feet underground at this point, and the threats are scaling up. I am very, very pleased with that. And although I don't insist upon it, it's since the team has just hit level 6, I'm opening up the options for character selection to be all 13 classes, not just martial classes. The playtesting is focusing around the martial power system, but we've spent a number of months at this point playing with the lowest level, the first rank of power. And not only do we need to test to see how well the system itself operates, which I am very happy with, but we also have to see how well the character system itself plays with the full casters, which is the other half. The other half of classes have to make sure those all jive together. So opening up play, I'm not pushing people to play one class or another at this point, though I do want to have at least half the team still be martial classes to stay on top of the martial power system. I'm looking forward to seeing what interest players have in delving, are they going to get into sorcerer or wizard or bard, or multi-classing is open as well. People are most welcome to multi-class, but I can see why people wouldn't want to multi-class, because I think once you get access to second rank powers at 5th level, it really opens up how much further do I need to take scaling up powers versus just gaining levels so I can stack mana. And so there's there's a ton of stuff that you can do just with second rank powers starting at 5th level. And so like a 6-14 split in class progression, depending on what kind of a character you're playing, 6-14 is not a bad split. You can get most subclass features resolved by level 14, depending on your class. Most of them will resolve by level 14, and at 6th level, you're likely to have 2 features from subclasses. So you can basically get a full subclass of 3, 6, 10, 14, and 3 and 6 off of another class on a 20 level spread. And I really like that. I like that the reward for doing heavy multi-classing like that. I like that 5e is basically set up at this point that since 3, 6, 10, 14 is a much more consistent pattern of subclasses, that you can multi-class with that split, and your reward, although none of your classes specifically, hit high tier stuff, you're rewarded by having 5 subclass features going that route. So you're sacrificing ramping power within your own single class and being able to benefit significantly from doing that split. I like multi-classing a lot, and that's where a lot of the fun in 3E came from, was being able to. What time is it? It's 7:28. Good. I still got 20 minutes left. Yeah, a lot of the fun in 3E was building a character deck. You know, like I'm gonna build this character out at the 20th level, and here's all the steps I want to take. Here's my White Room character build, and here's all the crazy shit it can do, and have your benchmarks, your 5th level, 11th level, 20th level benchmarks. That was a huge part of 3E, was just deck building your characters. Like there's not a lot of character building. Like the theory crafting of characters in 5e is a depleted hobby inside of the D&D game space. I really latched onto character build theory crafting in 3e because there was so much content. There's so many different cool ways to build out your character and to specialize on different like niche tasks or different type of exploits. And so many different ways to arrive at solutions. It was a lot of fun. And for the sake of simplicity, they got rid of a lot of that. That's where the subclasses versus prestige classes came in from, which I just think is such a shame. Prestige classes is a lot more work for a team to balance and pull off than subclasses are. But that prestige class multiclassing just made 3E such a monster. Such a cool way to approach the game. I mean, to be fair, Warhammer Fantasy RPG had been using occupations, and each occupation was like a 3 to 5 level progression, and then you had to split out. Like if you wanted to keep gaining levels, but you've ran out of levels in your occupation, you have to multi-class into a separate occupation. And that was all. I was not a big Warhammer enthusiast. Just the system didn't connect with me, right? But that's as far as I know, that's where prestige classes came from. Warhammer Fantasy, such a cool game system. Like a really cool character builds. It was a clever idea. I'm really happy to have seen. Seen that crop up in Warhammer. I didn't play Warhammer. Did I? You know what? Honestly, I played Warhammer before 3rd edition came out, so I did not make the initial. I don't think I made that connection until just recently, actually. You know what? Honestly, I played Warhammer before 3rd edition came out, so I did not make the initial. I don't think I made that connection until just recently. Let's do that. Go here. Now we're starting to get this shit resolved. That's looking good. Get that in shape here. Not bad. Feeling pretty good about this. Let's just blend that in here. We just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it's done. And then we pick up something new and we do that until it's done. We keep moving through the process, book by book, page by page, picture by picture. This is what I'll probably die at this easel. This is what I do. My eternal task. Once I started making books, I was basically locked in. Like, this is what I gotta do. All that time, those decades I spent doing artwork, really set me up to basically build whatever the fuck I want. I'm getting to a point where the scope of the project, it's just I can fathom it. I can feel the dread of how large a project is going to take. Like, oh, this is going to take a long time to build this out. But it's not, oh God, how am I going to do this? I know how to do this, and that's how I know this is going to be a heavy fucking lift. Like, there's a big difference in attitude there of like not knowing how it's going to get done and knowing how it's going to get done, but having to take a minute to catch your breath before you actually try to do it. Huge difference. Prior to the Spelljammer book, I honestly didn't know how to build adventures for 5e as PDFs, like, at all. I had no idea what I would do. But after we finished Lies of Araxis, the Spelljammer book, I now have a template. Like, how can I build out adventures? How can I make them look cool? And this, and now this Crystals of Mabar is a deep dive proof of concept that I can build. I can build and publish adventures. They're ridiculously heavy to lift in comparison to writing rules. Like, writing rules for adventures, so much easier than actually writing adventures. It's ridiculous. Do I want to put that under this? Kind of. Let's leave it over. Like that. Like that. Not bad. Let's do this. Put this belt into place. Oops, didn't want to erase. So I get for binding different layers together. That's okay. Boy, something feels wrong inside my body right now. There's something's pissed off. Do it like that for now. Be like that. Bring this in. It could be like that. Let's block that all in. Go. There. Oops, wrong color. Yeah, so far so good. Let's get the spear out of the way. Let's bring this down a bit here. Yeah, that still feels good. I could probably bring it down a little bit further. That feels decent. What if I... did something like that? Nah, don't like it. Let's just leave it up like that. I don't have consistent characters that I'm portraying throughout the adventure. I'm just dropping in whatever type of character makes sense to me for whatever the illustration is. Most of the time, like the ethnicity and the hair color, etc., that I choose for characters and illustrations is designed specifically to contrast whatever's going on in the background. So I'm more interested in breaking up the shapes so that they're identifiable than going with any particular type of identity. And I think there's a lot of value in having the flexibility to being able to depict different type of features and work with different type of skin tones and color, hair color in general, so that you don't have, so you can use the colors of the person to help complement the colors of the picture by not being locked in on like what type of a character, what kind of a person am I depicting here. Instead, just let it just be part of the illustration piece as a whole. It's yeah, that's a decided focus. Since I don't care about the color, that was, I think, just an interesting evolution. Since I'm colorblind and I don't care what colors I'm using, as long as I have a reference that makes that I can stand behind. Like, here's my color reference. I know it's a good color reference. The colors I'm using are good. That as my base stance, that just naturally evolved into, I want something dark in this position. That position is someone's face. I need a dark complexion on that face. How can I work that out? And that's kind of how I evolved into the dealing with different ethnicity in my pictures. It's just what does the composition need right now, right here, and that becomes the my primary focus. So to me, yeah, ethnicity and the depiction and appearance of different people, it's to me, it's very utilitarian. There's a high likelihood that I'm going to work on this some tonight as well. I'm not sure exactly how my day is going to pan out, but I can feel more and more. I love the feeling of being able to do artwork at night. It's very relaxing. It completely de-stresses my life. Like while I am painting, I don't have stress. I can just completely forget about whatever's going on in my life, and I just push pixels. And it is blessed. I think a lot of my life is as good as it is because I've had such a dedication to disengaging from the things in my life that could cause me stress, and just allowing me to follow my heart and let that space open up and let solutions just naturally filter into position without me having to necessarily put any effort into it. That's pretty ideal to me. But it's 7:50 here in Seattle. It's time for me to wrap up for the morning. I have a strong feeling that I'm going to want to get in a fight with this picture. I like it overall. I think this leg needs a little bit of work here, but for the most part, I'm really happy with how this piece is coming along. So all these other characters, I think they're great. It's just this dude. I need to make sure I get that right. So far, so good. One, 2, 3 at the belt, 4 at the hem, 5 at the knee, 6, 7. Yeah, the size is good. But once I get this dude done, then all I gotta do is worry about the tents. Maybe work on the background a little bit here, just to add a little bit more atmosphere in the distance. And I'll put in some sprigs and some foliage here to break up the space a little bit. Just to close in the space a little bit more with some shrubbery that I like to do along the border lines, just to close in the space a little bit more to frame it. And then we'll be done. So I'm looking forward to doing foliage. I love doing foliage and nature stuff. But one thing at a time. So we'll finish this dude up. Yeah, we're coming along. This is coming along. I'm really happy with this. We'll definitely have this clear this week. This piece will be done, and then we'll move on to whatever's next. All right, that's it for now, my guys. I am bouncing. I will. I'll be back at 2 o'clock, which will be in about 6 hours. I'll be back on. We're going to work on Order of the Scribes and Tradition of War Magic subclasses for the Wizard 2024 using the Color Mana system. I will see you guys then. Cheers.